Hello and welcome to the Angus Report, a news program geared toward cattle producers. I'm Bob Cervera.
And I'm Paige Wallace. From American Angus Association headquarters in St. Joseph, Missouri, we bring you the week's top headlines, including a look at the MF Global investigation and billions of dollars in missing producer funds.
Recent legislation attempts to cap any further talk of EPA dust regulations.
And we take a look at how shrinking cattle numbers will affect the markets this year.
A University of Nebraska expert explains how to get a handle on costs.
And we discuss modern-day options for marketing your calves.
This is the Angus Report. Our top story for the week. In the final days before MF Global filed for bankruptcy last year, an alleged $1.2 billion in client accounts went missing. FBI and federal prosecutors are now investigating the funds, which included those of farmers using commodity markets for risk management. Now, while $2.2 billion was transferred to MF Global customers last month, only 72% of accounts have been recovered. And until the exact shortfall is determined, it is unknown if customers will recover the remaining funds.
The EPA has said it won't pass rules for farm dust. That doesn't mean it's off the table. Now, federal lawmakers are taking action on the issue. Legislation approved by Congress attempts to ensure those in agriculture will not have to worry about dust regulations. The approved bill states the EPA cannot make any changes to the particulate matter standard for at least a year, and it limits what the EPA can do in the future.
Cattle supplies have been a difficult call this year while markets continue to feel the after effects of last summer's vast drought. Declining herd numbers have led to record high prices in 2011, and they're set to climb higher. That's according to Jim Robb of the Livestock Marketing Information Center. Travis Dodge reports.
But if we look especially at the cow-calf sector in the U.S., very positive news, tight supply, good demand, especially export demand. A little more difficulty for the cattle feeders and the packers because they're going to have to chase fewer and fewer cattle.
As the nation's herd numbers continue to shrink from last year, Rob says inventories in other countries are also on the decline.
We also see cow herds in many other countries still declining. We start the biological rebuilding process in 2012. It'll really be about 2015 before we see much increase in U.S. beef production. As we look ahead, though, to that time frame, much of that increase might be absorbed by our foreign markets, and that would be still very price supportive.
Producers can no longer market calves based on traditional cattle cycles, which have been overwhelmed by recent forces like international trade and the economy. Instead, Rob suggests the industry focus on addressing several disconnects.
So we really just need to better understand that consumer and really give them what they want. At these high levels of beef prices at retail and at restaurants, they really want a very high quality product, and if we don't produce a high quality product, we're going to see negative feedback coming from consumers, much more than we saw a few years ago when beef prices were half these levels.
For the Angus Report, I'm Travis Dodge.
As changes in the cattle market continue, all indicators point to a strengthening demand for Angus genetics. Recent numbers indicate both increasing registrations and sales figures.
This summer and fall, calves are bringing all-time record prices. And these good commercial cattlemen from across the country know that a good registered Angus bull is not an expense. He's an investment, and consequently, since they have a little more money in their pocket, they're willing to spend a little more for the high-quality genetics that we've had available. And again, I think that the biggest reason for that is just the fact that these straight-bred Angus feeder calves and replacement heifers have topped the market and brought record prices. Yeah, I'm really optimistic that this coming spring that again we're going to see the demand stay strong. I think the demand for our end product is strong. Exports are still driving our demand, and domestic consumption is strong. So I think it's all going to filter back to where we're going to see a really strong spring bull sale season for these good registered Angus bulls.
Visit angus.org for more information or a complete list of upcoming Angus sales and events. When it comes to controlling costs, experts say it's important to identify unit cost of production, or total cost divided by pounds of calf produced. Identifying every cost on the ranch can be tricky, but Aaron Berger of the University of Nebraska says it helps to think in terms of enterprises.
I think on a ranch, especially, oftentimes we can have a lot of different enterprises that we may not even think about it. So if I own my ranch, I actually have a land business. I have a land business there that's providing forage. That forage is harvested with cattle. I may have a cow-calf business. I also may keep calves over from weaning, and I run those over as stocker and yearlings. So that becomes a stocker yearling enterprise. If I keep my own heifer calves and develop those, that's a replacement heifer development enterprise. If I put up hay, I have a haying enterprise. I think the value in breaking the ranch into different enterprises is we can begin to identify where costs incur and where revenue is being generated. And oftentimes what happens is we may have a part of that business that's in trouble that we need to make some changes with. But if we don't know the cost to those individual enterprises, it becomes very difficult to identify where do changes need to occur, or where are we really good at something and we need to further develop that.
Visit ranchpracticum.com to learn more.